I'm sure a lot of the audience might be experiencing what is called the post-lunch curse. The food was good and very soporific. So I'll try making this panel as interesting as possible. I'm told that there is a slight shortage. We have about 30 minutes for our panel conversation. Before I begin the panel and open the questions, I wanted to say a couple of things. I want a raise of hands from the audience and answer this question. How many of you have heard about a Netflix web series called Jam Tara, Sabka Number Aayega? Anybody raise of hands? Okay, so if you haven't watched the series, my number one suggestion for this afternoon will be please go and watch the series. It talks about the sophisticated manner in which cyber crimes happen in India. Jamtara is a sleepy town in Jharkhand, but between 2013 and 2019, for about 6 years, it accounted for about 60% of India's cyber crimes. Of course, the law enforcement authorities swooped on the place. It's no longer what it used to be. Now the cyber crime place, the hotspot has shifted to 3 places in North India: Mewat in Haryana, Jaisalmer in Rajasthan, and Mathura in Uttar Pradesh. It's a multi-billion dollar activity in India and across the world. The World Economic Forum says by 2027, cyber crimes have the potential to disrupt up to $5 trillion of the global economy. So we are talking about a very, very serious issue as far as cybersecurity is concerned. Now, the panel, the topic, as you know, comprises 2 things. One is digital literacy. So what is digital literacy? Is it merely about using the internet online? Is there something more to digital literacy than what the word implies? The National Digital Literacy Mission says the ability to navigate the online world for meaningful and productive outcomes is what digital literacy is. It means not merely to check Google or internet, but also to create a profile, a persona on the digital medium for meaningful and productive ways. So this is what the National Digital Literacy Mission says. So we have, as I said, about 25-30 minutes. We will try to open this conversation to questions from the audience also. I welcome all the participants, and we will begin the conversation in the next 5-10 seconds. Thank you very much. I also wanted to thank 2 people. One is Sanjeevani. I'm not sure if she is in the audience. Sanjeevani, if you are, raise of hands. We want to applaud the fact that it is your efforts which have brought people like me here. The second person that I would like to applaud, in fact, it's a very surprising choice. The second person I would like to applaud is Sam Altman. And in case you're wondering why, then the answer is, I have this huge, this is the research that I've done for the event, about 8 or 10 pages of research work. I was traveling all of last week. I didn't have any time, but thanks to Sam Altman and his creation, ChatGPT, all I had to do to get the research was about 3 questions, and I have 11 pages of research report. So the world of education, the world of skill development, and the world of competency building is changing in ways that we cannot even imagine. And unless we as teachers and as academic institutions learn, relearn, and unlearn, I think the future is not going to be bright. So this conference actually emphasizes the point that as teachers, we have to be students for life. So thank you very much, the organizers, for giving me this opportunity. I hope we will do justice to the panel. Ma'am, I'll start with you. Your leadership coach. I'm sure you have a sense of how academic institutions, schools, colleges approach this problem of cyber attacks. I mean, you have numerous cases of extortion, sextortion, cyber sex trafficking, lot of things surrounding the use of the cyber sphere. So my first question for you would be, and of course the other speakers can also take this forward, what specific measures do you think education institutions can do to protect themselves and their students from cyber attacks?
Okay. Thank you so much. Andarki namaskaram. Because I've actually done my entire qualification is from Hyderabad, so I definitely owe this to Hyderabad. And talking about not just cyber attacks, maybe I'd like to also talk about digital literacy, because I believe as educators and pacemakers in the education arena, we need to understand that there will always be two things that would change dynamically. Number one would be technology, and the second one certainly would be the education field that will keep evolving. However, we need to understand as educators, what is the challenge? Well, the challenge is when technology is evolving at a very, very fast, speed, and we need to catch up. Again, when talking about India, we are a very, very diverse country. So when technology is changing at a very, very high speed, are we really catching up to it or not is the number one question, because we are talking about digital literacy. It's not about whether the students are able to really know who Sam Altman is. Do they really know what ChatGPT is and how to browse the net? Certainly, it's definitely more than that. Whenever we talk about digital literacy and cyber attack, the number one thing that we train, because I'm a leadership coach, I'm associated with colleges, universities, and schools. As Sir asked me, how do we really go ahead and deal with this particular thing that is cyber attacks and digital literacy? The number one thing, it might sound very, very simple thing, but then the number one thing what we need to do and what we help all the educators and the pacemakers is awareness. And secondly, we cannot ever talk about technology and the fast pace that I'm talking about is understanding, are we moving forward ethically? So what we do as leadership coaches is trying to coach not the students, but the educators, the teachers, and people who are like us, the trainers. We help them to raise no leaders. The world requires no leaders. We are helping them to raise ethically passionate leaders. So that's the first thing when we are talking about digital literacy, helping them being aware. Is it part of our curriculum? Is it part of our culture? When a student is aware that, hey, you know what? If I'm going online and I'm not sharing or uploading my picture online because I know there could be a threat, how will students be so aware? They would be aware if educators and parents, we really talk to them, make them aware it is part of their curriculum, right? That you're not supposed to share any private information, as simple as that. So training teachers on these particular things. So EPL, raising ethically passionate leaders, responsibility, awareness is what as educators and as leadership coaches we do. This would be the first thing that I wanted to share with all of you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, and also thank you for the slight tweak in the question. So let me ask the question in a slightly different way to Dr. Daya. Since you come from a reputed university, a large number of students, large infrastructure, what are the most common cybersecurity threats that you think educational institutions face? And are you also imparting the need for safe engagement with the cybersphere? You can maybe contextualize the answer and talk about your own experiences of driving some of the initiatives in Woxsen University.
Sure. So first of all, thank you, ObserveNow, for having me here. And thanks to our panelists as well. Now, moving forward to this particular question, what common threats in the cyber security which an institution is facing? First, I would like to go on the basic, because I'm a teacher, and I hope those who all are teachers, they will agree with me. Fundamental first. So, first of all, we have to understand what is this cyber security and from where the cyber threats come into the picture. In this, I think basically we have to initiate our things from the student level. I want to contextualize in two ways, particularly how we are giving these things to the students, and another way I'll come to forward after that from the institutional level. Two things are very different scenarios. They will produce a different scenes. So fundamentally what is there? There are lots of things. We are talking about digital literacy, cyber securities. What is exactly these things? See, we can teach our students like that, okay, suppose you are sending anything over this cyberspace. There is a lots of chances that your informations or whatever things you are sharing that may get leaked. How? Just like that, suppose the water is flowing inside a pipe. If there is a certain leakage, we have to detect initially, and basically we have to trap it down and close it that one. In the similar way, we have to train our students also to initially detect these things. There are so many things. I don't want to go in technical details, but the point is that what I want to convey here, that we have to initially train our systems. Like few of the things which I would like to mention here, that is the basic things which we have to incorporate in our curriculum at the initial level. There are so many other mechanisms and so many other intelligent persons are there. They can tell how we can able to do these things, but these are the things at the initial level which we can do it. Now the second point is on the university level. How we can protect the personal data first. Other things come into the later, where their data is leaking, who is basically keeping this data, who is trapping this entire thing. These things later can be discussed, but we have to initially create a certain protocol which basically protect your data at the initial level. And that you can make it on the IT level initially. When there is, you are protecting or which you are storing lots of data, like suppose the information of your students, pay, slips, and a lot other things are involved. Financial things also involved, and then information is also involved. So you have to protect it at the initial level. Don't go further. I would recommend, I would like to mention one thing here before proceeding further, that yes, this type of things happens at the university level as well, and on the students level also. So there is a top and bottom, both things are there. If we close these both the limits, then we can able to, I can say that the effectively protects our entire things. So regarding the, you can say that my experience, there are lots of experience are there, and some of them are very, you can say that the confidential, I don't want to disclose here, but yes, these are the limits which we have to protect at the initial level.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, sir. Okay. I'm Bala, co-founder of GUVI, an EdTech company. So before I move on to our next panelist and ask the question, I'd like to share a few things about why people specifically talk about this topic to an educationist or people like you, right? To give a personal experience. So every one of us has data of students who are learning with us, right? So for many people will think that we are not financial institutions to come and rob the money from us, or we are not going to get attacked by robbers asking for ransom money usually, right? But I'll give an example. As an EdTech company, right, every day we get more than like 28 to 30 cyber attacks hitting our servers to fetch the data from us. Okay? For them, it's not always the money which they wanted to take it away. Okay? So we have around 3 million users. Just imagine if someone could get into our server and crack this data of 3 million users. Right? We have a lot of video courses, right? What if someone can actually crack into the platform and download all the video contents from the platform? So these are the assets that every educational institutions or a company has, right? Similarly, every one of you sits on a lot of diamond or worthwhile things as part of your institution, such as the data of the learners. Okay? You can get literally, they can get literally what this particular learner is about and what is his background is about and what is his personal data and what are the things that he is more interested in about based on his marks as well. So whatever you have as part of the data from the learners or your faculty members or whatever it is, right? Those data are the one that every hacker is trying to get it from it. And having the right security measure will always ensure that these are protected. Okay. So now I will ask, obviously, the hero here, Mr. Rajanikanth. So you would love hearing the name. So to you, sir, as a institution, as a prominent institution, right? How do you think that these institutions can effectively safeguard or teach the digital literacy and cyber security to students of varying age groups and different backgrounds? Because as from Symbiosis, obviously, you have it across the backgrounds, right?
So basically, when I look at the topic digital literacy and cybersecurity, I believe cybersecurity is a part of digital literacy. So when we talk digital literacy, by default, the security of using the technology also we need to talk about. So basically, when we are talking about how do we enforce this at educational institution, I say maintaining the digital profiles of the individuals in the institute. Say now, we have, when I talk about Symbiosis, we have from school to the higher education across the nation, and we maintain the digital profile because we mostly have residential campuses. Once a student is in, he uses our internet for access to any of the technology tools, etc. So now we will maintain their digital history, the technologies they are using, the tools they are using, the kind of the data that actually they are generating. So through this, our own IT officials, when they found some individual is going wrong way, some individual is sharing his sensitive data, then that particular individuals will be counseled. So this way, we are able to control the security threats as well. The other side, we also have a lot of awareness that we create to the students of various age groups of how we need to choose a technology. So when, as an individuals, we know that when we want to do something, so there is some tool always available for us. Without just looking at whether it is safe or not, immediately we start using. Not just the students, we do that. But we should know before using that particular tool, is it safe, whether it has all the standards, when we are sharing the data, whether all the measures are there with that particular tool or not. Everything should be, first we need to inquire, we need to know about, and then actually we need to use that particular tool. So such kind of awareness the student should know, and the digital literacy has to be made a part of the curriculum in the current days as well, not just giving an awareness, but also an evaluation should be there on how exactly the students are using, such that, as we can see in the recent years, the literacy rate has increased. More than 95% of the people are going to school. When we could give such digital literacy awareness, when we are evaluating the individual, the kind of cyber security threats that are happening will get reduced. And today we are talking about digital literacy and cyber security, but AI is coming up. The AI security is the other one which is going to come up now. Everyone are running to use artificial intelligence, and everyone are developing their own model. In future, it's not just the data, but the kind of security we create to our own artificial model is also very much important, because now as an educational institution also we will have our own AI engine which is trained for our own student learning, usage, examination, etc. The security of that particular AI engine is also an important aspect which is actually going to come in the near future. So this one, thank you.
Wonderful, Professor Rajanikanth. Thank you so much. Adding to what he said, right? So along with our curriculum of teaching the tech topics, right? It would be great if we can add these cyber security items into that. To give an example, when we teach databases, okay? That's a preliminary thing for every engineering graduate, right? But how many times we talk about open endpoints in databases? So that is the major route through which the hacker hits the system and gets the data. And when we teach about web technologies, how many times we talk about the browser, how the browser works, and how the data are being transmitted through data packets. Because that is where the majority of the hacking tools are being used to hack the data from the browser to the hacker database. Okay, so these points, adding these things into the syllabus would really help people to be aware of the security and be preventive from them. So now moving to Mr. Suresh, Dr. Suresh. Okay, so you have an interesting question. So Mr. He has prepared. So what partnerships between the private sector and education institutions are essential to enhance digital literacy and cybersecurity training?
Yeah, coming to the partnership, as we are talking about the digital literacy, one side we are looking into the security issues. In the second way, we are also looking into the manpower as well as the financials. Adding a security for an organization is not that much easy in these days. Getting a skilled person to look into these activities is also a challenging task. And there is a lot of intervention of the funds. So here, whenever a organization who's looking into security, the first thing is we need to ensure that what the data is exactly required for a student or for an employee. So I don't require the information of a student regarding his siblings or his identification marks. I don't require all this. So if people can avoid those kind of unnecessary data, there 50% of the security issues has been gone out. Even the government of India is also saying that masked Aadhaar is also valid. But even certain institutions are not at all accepting this masked Aadhaar. Even the government is also not accepting. Whenever the student is going for scholarships or anything, they need to produce the actual Aadhaar only. So whenever the Aadhaar is being transferred from hand to hand, whenever the account numbers are being shared, so definitely there is a cyber issues. Now how to overcome is, because as already I told you that the major challenge is the fund allocation, or the main another threat is having a skilled employee to look into these activities. So here coming to the initiatives, what we can propose is the organizations who are very much active in these kind of activities, if they can share their resources, like sending their persons for interactive sessions, or creating an animations, or creating some simulation models, such that the students as well as the employees also get understand. Just recently everybody knows that the Election Commission of India, they have been doing a lot of campaigns. They are insisting for mock drill of the polling. Everybody, a lot of institutions, even we have done the mock polling also. Similarly, rather than initially deploying the content into the curriculum, if at all we can give a role model simulation in physical, students or the employees will be much more sensitized towards what exactly is happening in the cyber attacks, whether it is a phishing or whether it is the mails. Being in the academic fraternity, even lot of our employees, the teachers, they have been facing a big challenge that everybody has to write their research articles. There are plenty of research publication journals which are being cloned. I think everybody are aware about it. A lot of journals have been cloned. But being a teacher or being an academician, we are unable to justify what is the real website and the fake website. Because the cloning is the main duplicate. The duplicate or the cloned website also resembles as of a original. But at the end of the day, our academicians are being failed in publishing their articles. That means a cyber person who is professional in the cyber security or in any other security aspects, they need to sensitize the education institutions initially. Then only people will understand. One more example, I have also faced this. Recently, in the last 1 year back, I have opened an account in a bank, in a nationalized bank. Initially, when I entered into the bank, there was a person agent. He'll be keeping all my data and everything. The account has been opened. After 5 days, I got a message that your account will be blocked if you don't upload your PAN card. There has given a link. I have been little bit matured enough that already I have submitted my PAN card details, but why I got this message? If I could click at that link means definitely my account has been taken away. All my money has been lost. So the minimum way of sensitizing the employees is the foremost important by the professionals, not by any other persons. If I know a little bit about cyber security, I should not sensitize my employees. I require a good professional who can understand the protocols, what exactly or where exactly your internet or your LAN system has to work. If that kind of person can sensitize the employees of the education society, then only the teachers or the academic fraternity can sensitize the students. This is my opinion.
So thank you very much for your perspectives. The clock is ticking away. It says less than 6 minutes. So I'll throw one question at the panel, and I'll let all of them answer this. I come from a business management education background. We frequently use a phrase, you cannot improve that which you cannot measure. Ultimately, we have to measure the effective, to understand and improve, we need to measure the outcomes of our actions. So the next and final question will be, it's a free-for-all. How can we measure the effectiveness of digital literacy programs in preparing students for the digital age? Anyone can take that?
Okay, right. I completely endorse what you're saying. It's like whatever, whether it is performance, even if we are talking about digital literacy, if we cannot measure it, how do we improve it? How do we track it? I completely understand. As a training consultant, I also work sometimes with companies like Tata, and we are helping the future workforce. That's actually the college students, so when it comes to measuring the digital, literacy program, I definitely would disagree to what everyone was talking since morning, and that was about the number of MOOCs that we are doing. That's the massive open online courses that we are doing. Because in a way, what happens is we are actually just registering the certificate holders, and we are certainly not measuring someone who is digitally literate. So that's a kind of a don't that I can give. This is what we do when we work with companies, as I told you, with Tata. Even I come from, I was an HR manager with an aerospace firm. So when it was about measuring the effectiveness, it certainly would not be, as I said, certifications or the scores. I clearly remember, again, giving the credit to Hyderabad, I worked with great leaders, and when we used to hire mechanical engineers in the aerospace sector, he very clearly stated that, hey, Anu, do not look for the scores. In their resume, I should not see, like if they are grading over 90% or something, I am really not going ahead with those scores. We should be conducting our own examinations so that we can hire the mechanical engineers. So I'd say it's not certainly an easy question for me to answer, how do we measure the effectiveness here? But then yes, it would actually differ when we are talking about the different spaces, different fields. So maybe others can add more to it.
Sure. I actually like the point. I said, I think we should, all of us as educational institution heads, we should try to avoid the temptation of one size fits all.
Absolutely.
One size does not fit all. There is a certain context within which all of us operate. Even within the industry, an institution has a specific context, a department has a specific context, so keeping that in mind, all of us have to design our interventions. Wonderful, ma'am.
I'd just like to take very quick 30 seconds. As all the educators are sitting here, I think as we spoke about MOOC, there's one very important pointer as a training consultant I'd like to say is, please, while we are designing the content, I'm sure all of you would agree, we need to remember there are two kinds of online content. One is synchronized content and another one is asynchronized. So if you want the fundamental of learning is curiosity. So please, again, do not go with just the asynchronized content that most of the MOOCs offer. That's the only request, and thank you for giving me this platform. I really wanted to share this as a training consultant. Thank you.
Sure, sure. Thank you very much. In the interest of time, Dr. Daya, your intervention, less than a minute. I'm going to play Arnab Goswami this afternoon.
So for measure effectiveness of anything, I would like to say that there is only one mechanism, training and testing. Train the system and test it. In this way, you can increase the effectiveness of anything. Anything means anything. That is, already we can say that this is the conventional method, but still it's work. That's it.
Thank you very much. Dr. Rajanikanth.
So my answer is simple, just an analysis of number of victims in an institution. If we can keep track of that shows how effectively the digital literacy is taking place by the people in the institution. Very simple.
Sure. Now move on to the last but not least, Dr. Suresh, your final thoughts, please.
It's very simple that we need to introspect among ourselves. Everybody is having a smartphone. How many of us know the exact context of parental control in a mobile phone? How many of you are using it? Nobody doesn't know about exactly what exactly is the parental control. When we have to use, nobody doesn't know. So that gives you the answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we'll now move to Mr. Bala for the final thoughts and a quick wrap-up.
Wonderful. Maybe as I sum up everyone, so I'll add my thoughts. So as Ms. Manu said, producing ethical leaders and also to ensuring to have your own certification and learning in an async manner would really be impactful for these kind of courses. And Mr. Dr. Daya, so obviously having a right mechanism to measure and understand how things are effective would really help us to be a leader in this domain. And with respect to Professor Rajanikanth, how impactful the learning should be, how impactful the measurement is the key for this. And with Dr. Suresh, so he rightly pointed out why should we avoid collecting the unnecessary data and how we should have the right enforcement mechanism in place to, first of all, avoid these kind of things. I agree with all the panelists and my point should be also teach them technically how vulnerable their systems are. Because only when you know how vulnerable the systems which you build using your technologies, right? For example, when you build a software application, what are the places where we should be very cautious about the hacks? Most of the time when we run the security courses, right? What people come to learn here is how to hack their boyfriend's phone or how to hack their girlfriend's accounts. This is what every learner comes for to understand. But if we make them understand how security the system should be in terms of the database, in terms of the open endpoints, that would really safeguard every one of us. And for me, the digital literacy here is, the fundamental is coding. So everyone should learn coding so that they should know where things could go wrong technically. So with this I will wind up, and thanks to, first of all, Dr. Satya, Professor Satya, for preparing this wonderful question and being such a wonderful moderator as well.
Thank you very much, sir. I think we certainly deserve a round of applause for sticking to the time. Absolutely bang on time. Thank you very much. As I said, a topic as wide as this cannot be covered in 30 minutes. We were only skimming the surface. Thank you very much to the organizers for affording us the opportunity to present our views on a topic that is increasingly relevant to all of us. And thank you to the audience. The only glitch is that we couldn't give you enough time for a Q&A, but the speakers are available for a quick chat offline. Thank you.